Eyewitness News Team.
Good evening. The government of Turkey has offered safe conduct out of the country to Palestinian terrorists who shot their way into and seized control of the Egyptian embassy in Ankara yesterday. The offer came after 2 Turkish policemen jumped from a third-floor embassy window. The terrorists killed 1 officer. The other died from the fall. The gunman then released 3 women, supposedly as a goodwill gesture. About a dozen hostages, including the Egyptian ambassador, are still being held. Calling themselves the Eagles of the Palestinian Revolution, the guerrillas are demanding Turkey sever diplomatic relations with Egypt and Israel, plus the release of 2 of their comrades from prison in Egypt. The Palestine Liberation Organization has denied any connection with the attack. Egypt has officially given the Turks permission to storm the compound if it is necessary, but officials at the scene are trying to avoid any more bloodshed. At least 5 people have already been killed.
Well, the Ingham County prosecutor has agreed to plea bargain with Donald Miller. Miller is a former security guard and the prime suspect in the disappearances of 2 Lansing area women more than a year ago. Under the deal, Miller led authorities to the bodies, and then he was allowed to plead guilty to manslaughter charges. He could get 15 years for that. At a news conference this afternoon in Lansing, authorities said that they agreed to the deal so that the bodies of the women could be found and so that the families of 31-year-old Christine Stewart and 19-year-old Martha Young would not have to suffer under lingering uncertainty. A lieutenant with the East Lansing Police Department talked about the 24-year-old suspect this afternoon, Donald Miller.
The Don Miller I have come to know in the past 2.5 years could not have harmed anyone. However, the opinion of the experts who have examined Don indicate that he has a severe mental illness, which causes him to periodically lose control of his conduct. And then he totally represses all memories of this conduct.
Donald Miller will undergo a new series of psychiatric examinations. He is currently serving a term of from 30 to 50 years for rape and the attempted murder of another person in connection with another case. And there's still another tragic story tonight in the news. A fun day on Oakland County's Pine Lake turned into a nightmare for 3 young people. 15-year-old Janet Deneau and her 17-year-old brother Paul were boating with a group of friends. Their 18-foot fiberglass boat had just been filled with fuel. Paul tried to start it when the engine compartment blew up. Police say there were actually 2 explosions this afternoon. Tonight, 15-year-old Janet has been rushed to the Ann Arbor Burn Center. She has 3rd-degree burns over 25% of her body. Her brother Paul and a friend, 20-year-old Linda Randall, were taken to area hospitals. They have been treated and released. And tonight, police still don't know why that fiberglass boat suddenly blew up this afternoon. Woody?
Detroit sanitation workers decided to talk instead of walk about their dispute with city officials concerning compulsory overtime after Mayor Coleman Young decided to get directly involved. Mayor Young discussed the workers' complaints about ever-expanding garbage pickup routes and their dwindling numbers with state and city union people today. AFSCME proposed the reinstatement of 40 employees who were suspended for refusing overtime, and they want overtime work assigned on a voluntary basis. No specific commitments were made, however, before the agreement in principle was announced today. Whether a strike happens later this summer depends on the success of another meeting later this week.
The FAA says the DC10 jumbo jets are now safe to fly, and some of them are back in the air tonight. But those at Metro Airport in Detroit are still on the ground. TV2's Ron Trumbla tells us why.
Even with their clean bill of health from the Federal Aviation Agency, those DC-10s grounded at Detroit Metro were still on the ground today. Northwest plans to resume flights of DC-10s tomorrow. United Airlines will put them back into its friendly skies next Tuesday, as will American Airlines. The FAA has called for better, more frequent inspections of the planes, but has declared them safe. Passengers, for the most part, seem to think if the DC-10s are good enough for the FAA, they're good enough for them.
I'm not worried at all. In fact, I think it's good because it's going to ease the congestion we're finding at airports at the moment. I've been waiting at airports all around the States now for 4 weeks, and the main problem seems to be shortage of seats.
Does that worry you? Would you worry about flying?
Yes.
You would?
Yes.
The FAA says that they're safe.
Yeah. Well, I hope they know what they're talking about.
But you're not sure?
No.
It's all in God's hands. What else can I say?
God and the FAA.
Right.
But you think they're safe?
I think so. I don't think that they would take a chance risking a lot of people's lives. And, of course, there's a lot of money involved in insurance and what have you not. I think they know what they're doing. I hope so.
One frequent airline passenger, FAA Administrator Langhorne Bond, the man who grounded the DC-10s in the first place, was asked many of the same questions I asked passengers here today.